Imagine a standard financial spreadsheet. It calculates millions of rows, updates international ledgers, and runs an entire corporate department. Under European law, this file operates with complete freedom, existing entirely outside the reach of the new AI Act. But if you add a single predictive module, one that learns from the data to project next quarter's revenue, the legal status of that file changes instantly. It crosses a threshold from standard software into the jurisdiction of a specific regulatory regime. The AI Act ignores marketing labels and surface technology. Instead, it focuses strictly on the functional behavior of the code itself. For developers and lawyers, this creates a vital question. Where is the objective boundary between a standard automated program and a regulated artificial intelligence system? The answer lies in the opening of the regulation, Article 3, Paragraph 1. This single sentence acts as a universal filter for the entire European Union. Defining exact where this line is drawn is the mandatory first step of compliance. It determines whether a company is bound by the Act's requirements or remains entirely free. Article 3.1 establishes a 5-marker legal sieve. A system must pass through every single layer to be classified as AI, and these rules apply identically across every member state. Marker 1. The system must be machine-based. It runs on hardware or in the cloud. It is a tool, not a person. Marker 2 requires autonomy. A standard program waits for a human prompt, while an autonomous pathway breaks away to perform tasks independently. Marker 3. It must have an effect, producing an output, like a prediction, that influences a physical or virtual environment. Marker 4 deals with adaptiveness. The regulation says a system may exhibit adaptiveness after deployment. This means a model that learns only during its development, but remains static once it is released, is still legally classified as AI. These 4 markers describe the body of the machine, but the law isn't triggered until we find the 5th marker, the conceptual heart of the definition. That 5th marker is inference, the system's capacity to derive an output from the inputs it receives. In Recital 12, the law clarifies what this looks like. Unlike basic data processing, an AI system derives a pattern from raw data to generate a decision. It produces an insight not explicitly written into its code. This creates a hard legal exclusion. Software based solely on human-defined rules is exempt. If a person wrote every step, it is executing a command, not inferring. This definition captures modern machine learning, where the system itself figures out how to reach an objective by studying data. But it also applies to older logic-based expert systems. If the software reasons from encoded knowledge rather than just following a fixed formula, it stays within the scope of the Act. The AI Act does not regulate a specific era of technology. It targets any system that reasons or learns rather than simply carrying out a human's pre-written instructions. Apply this 5-marker filter back to our spreadsheet. It runs on a machine and acts with autonomy, but because its calculations rely on a fixed formula you wrote, it lacks inference. It remains outside the regulation. But the upgraded version, the one using data to predict future revenue, now ticks all 5 boxes. By eyeing the capacity to infer, you have moved the tool into the jurisdiction of European law. Of course, real-world software development often produces borderline cases, where the distinction between a fixed rule and an inference is unclear. To navigate these gray areas, the European Commission released official guidelines in February 2025. This document provides practical examples to help developers determine exactly where their technology sits. The AI Act judges code by how it behaves. If a system blindly executes a human command, it stays free. But once it begins to infer, it answers to the law.